Hey there, NT5103. I wanted to give you a very quick video to show you how to do some searching in Logos that will help you with the TC problem. There are some overlapping skills here. What I want to do is to walk through how to look for a specific word, and then how to look for a grammatical form, and then how to look for two things together. So let's start by looking for a particular word. Anytime you're working within the Greek text, you can right-click on a word, and then a contextual menu will come up. And if you want to search on a particular word, for example, if you want to find every use of oikotomai, what you would do is go to the lexical form here. You can see that little circle, and then click that on the left. And then on the right, go down to search oikotomai, and that will search through the entirety of the New Testament for that particular word. Actually, let me back up. What the search window will do is default to your last parameter. For most of us, I bet, you have all passages here. And so that will cover oikotomai everywhere in the New Testament, but we're concerned about the author. So what we need to do is to restrict that to our author. There are some built-in search limits here, and you will pick Paul, and then that will change it to oikotomai in Paul. You can see that it occurs 15 times. Now you could pretty easily scan to see which uses occur with the article and which don't. Let me show this to you again. Let's imagine that we wanted to search for pos everywhere that it occurs. And so here you would right-click on pos, go to the lexical form, go to the right, and then go to search for pos. And since I was in Paul last time, that now defaults to Paul. Let's imagine I wanted to change it and look for everywhere in the New Testament. I would go to that parameter and change all to all passages. All right, so that's how to search for a particular word. If you want to search for a particular type of word, for example, a noun, we have to do things slightly differently. So let me clear my searches here, and what I want to do is to actually start with an open search window. So I'm going to go here to search, and that will open a window. What I want to pick up here is morph, because what I'm doing is searching for a particular kind of word, like a noun or an adjective. That is morphological information. And here in the query, what I want to do is type the @ symbol. What that will do is then invoke a drop-down that enables you to pick a particular word. So for example, a noun. And then I can specify if I want to find a plural noun, and I can then specify if I want it to have a certain gender or case. So for example, if I wanted to look for all feminine accusative plural nouns, I would do that search. You'll notice that the parameter was set to Paul. If I wanted to change that, I could easily do that. If it's on all passages, I can easily go back to Paul, no problem. So that's the way to search for a particular kind of word. You can search for a pronoun, you can search for an adjective, you can search for a verb in the aorist tense, etc. But here's where it gets kind of interesting for our purposes. You'll notice that here, what we have is pos and then noun, and the question is whether or not there is an article in the middle. So what we want to do is to search for pos plus noun in combination. The way to do that is to, again, go to a morph search, and then what I'm going to do is to put in a lexical form for the word pos. That's done by typing the English word lemma, colon, and then start typing your Greek word, and you'll notice that there's a drop down that will fill you in. You can then find pos pretty easily. And then I would type the @ sign and then find a noun. Now, what this does is it searches for pos plus a noun anywhere within the verse. If I execute this search, what you'll find out is that it is pretty broad. It's finding any noun anywhere, not necessarily ones that are connected right next to each other. So what I need to do is to put in a modifier in between those two words. The syntax is within one words. Now, that seems a little odd, but that's the syntax. So if you type within one words in between those two different search parameters, that will find then a noun and the word pos right next to each other. But notice that it doesn't regard the word order. We want pos to come in front. So let's change within to before one words, and now we're in business. Now, what you'll notice that I have not done is made them agree in gender, case, and number. That can be done. It's a little more complex. It's probably a little more complex than what we need to worry about. So let's just assume that what I see here, if pos is right next to a noun, that it agrees with it in gender, case, and number. Now, the next question is, how do I do this and take into account the article? I simply add the article as a search term in the middle. So you'll notice I have lemma, pos, before one words, noun. So let's add, let me get a little space here to make it clear. Let's add the article. Do you see what I did? I typed the @ sign and then chose article. Now again, I'm not going to make it agree in terms of gender, case, number. I'm going to assume that that's the case. If we were being a little more exact, a little further along, we would do so. And then to make sure that they're right next to each other, I'm going to repeat the before one words search parameter. So now what this does is it finds pos plus article plus noun in order, and you'll notice that my parameter is such that it's within Paul. If I wanted to branch out and go to all passages, I could easily do so. If I was on all passages accidentally and I wanted to go to Paul, I could easily do so. So now what this does is it gives you some data. You can compare how frequently Paul uses pos plus article plus noun versus how frequently he uses pos plus noun. Now, arguably, there are other things we would want to consider. This particular problem is kind of complex. It's not just about pos plus a noun. It's about what he says with oikotomai, etc. But remember, our purpose here is not to figure out all of the grammatical data. That's a little bit beyond us. We're just trying to make a little progress in this regard. So pick something to look for. Maybe it's oikotomai and how frequently Paul uses the article with that. Maybe it's pos plus a noun and how frequently he uses the article with that. Pick one of those to search for and simply state that data in the TC paper, and that will suffice to meet my requirements for the assignment. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if I can offer any clarifications, and I look forward to reading your papers. Take care.